100 million Americans. That's not the number of people who have diabetes. That's not the number who have heart disease. That is the number of Americans right now, today, walking around with a liver disease they don't even know they have. No symptoms, no pain, no warning. And there's a very real chance you are one of them. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes could genuinely save your life. This channel is dedicated to giving you the real health information that your doctor's 7-minute appointment doesn't have time to cover. And today we're talking about something that I genuinely believe is the most underdiagnosed health crisis in America right now. It's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD. And before you think, I don't drink, so that's not me, that is exactly the trap most people fall into. Because here's what nobody is telling you. You do not have to drink a single drop of alcohol to develop serious, life-threatening liver disease. In fact, the fastest growing group of people being diagnosed with fatty liver disease right now are people who never drink at all. We're talking about people who go to the gym, people who think they eat pretty healthy, people who get their annual checkup and get told everything looks fine. But underneath the surface, their liver is slowly, quietly being destroyed. Your liver is, without question, one of the most hard-working organs in your entire body. It performs over 500 individual functions every single day. It filters your blood. It produces bile to break down fat. It regulates your blood sugar. It detoxifies everything you eat, drink, and breathe. Think of your liver as the ultimate processing plant for your entire body. Every single thing that enters your bloodstream has to pass through it. Now, your liver naturally contains a small amount of fat. That's completely normal. The problem starts when fat begins to accumulate inside the liver cells themselves. When more than 5% of your liver's weight is made up of fat, that is the clinical definition of fatty liver disease. And here is where it gets serious. Fatty liver disease does not stay in stage 1 forever. It progresses. First, fat accumulates with no real inflammation. This stage is still reversible. Then inflammation sets in and the liver is actively being damaged. Most people still have zero symptoms at this point, but the damage is very real. Then scar tissue begins forming and liver function starts to decline. And in the final stage, severe permanent scarring occurs. The liver can no longer perform its basic functions, and this can lead to liver failure and liver cancer. And here is the stat that keeps researchers up at night. Approximately 20% of people with fatty liver disease will progress to that dangerous stage without ever knowing they had fatty liver in the first place. That is 20 million Americans on a path to liver failure, and they feel completely fine. So here's the question everyone should be asking. If 100 million Americans have this condition, why isn't it all over the news? Why isn't your doctor warning you about it at every visit? Here's the truth. Fatty liver disease has earned the nickname the silent disease because it genuinely produces no pain, no discomfort, and no obvious warning signs until it has already caused significant damage. Your liver has no nerve endings that signal pain. It cannot tell you it's struggling. By the time you feel it, the damage is already done. On top of that, the most common liver test your doctor orders, the liver enzyme panel, misses this disease in up to 79% of people who have it. Normal blood work, normal labs, but active liver disease progressing in the background. The only truly reliable way to detect fatty liver disease is an ultrasound, an MRI, or a liver biopsy. And doctors simply aren't ordering these tests routinely for people who seem fine. And as of right now, There is no FDA-approved drug specifically for this condition, which means there isn't a lot of money pushing awareness around it. But the good news? The most powerful treatments for fatty liver disease are completely within your control. No prescription required. Now let's talk about who is most at risk. The old picture of liver disease was someone who drank heavily for decades. That picture is completely outdated. Today, the highest risk groups include people with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, people who carry excess weight, especially around the midsection, people with high triglycerides, people who eat a high sugar or high processed food diet, and here's the one that catches most people off guard. Even thin people with poor diets are developing fatty liver disease at alarming rates. You do not have to be overweight to have this condition. People over 40 are also at elevated risk, and research consistently shows that Hispanic Americans have a higher genetic predisposition to this disease than other ethnic groups. This is the part most people find most shocking, because these are not exotic foods. These are everyday staples that millions of Americans consume without a second thought. The single biggest dietary driver of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is high fructose corn syrup. Here's why. Fructose is metabolized almost exclusively in the liver. When you consume high fructose corn syrup found in sodas, juices, condiments, cereals, and thousands of packaged foods, your liver converts that fructose directly into fat. Research published in the Journal of Hepatology found that daily consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages is associated with a 56% higher risk of developing fatty liver disease, even when controlling for total calorie intake. The second food group destroying your liver is refined white carbohydrates, white bread, white rice, regular pasta, crackers, and bagels. These foods spike your blood sugar rapidly, triggering an insulin surge that directly promotes fat storage in the liver. Over time, this repeated insulin spike leads to insulin resistance, and insulin resistance is the engine that drives fatty liver disease forward. Third are trans fats and partially hydrogenated oils found in margarine, commercial baked goods, fried fast food, and many packaged snacks. Trans fats cause direct inflammation in liver cells and promote the progression from simple fatty liver to the more dangerous NASH stage. Fourth, and this surprises many people, even moderate alcohol consumption of just 2 drinks per night can accelerate fatty liver disease in someone who already has it. It's not just heavy drinkers who need to be careful. If you already have fatty deposits in your liver, alcohol pours fuel on that fire. Fifth, ultra-processed packaged foods, regardless of their calorie or sugar content, independently disrupt gut microbiome health in a way that directly increases liver fat accumulation. The emulsifiers, artificial preservatives, and synthetic additives in processed foods damage the gut lining and allow inflammatory molecules to flood into the liver. And sixth, regular consumption of processed red meat, hot dogs, deli meats, sausage has been linked to increased liver inflammation and higher rates of fibrosis progression. Here's what's important to understand. You don't have to eat all 6 of these every day to be in trouble. The combination effect, even eating just 2 or 3 of these regularly, creates a cumulative burden on the liver that builds over years and decades. Now here's something that the mainstream medical conversation almost never covers, and it's arguably the most important piece of this entire puzzle. Your gut and your liver are deeply biologically linked through what scientists call the gut-liver axis. Your intestines contain trillions of bacteria, your gut microbiome. When that microbiome is healthy and diverse, it acts as a protective barrier. But when it is disrupted through poor diet, stress, antibiotic overuse, and lack of sleep, The intestinal lining becomes compromised. When the gut lining becomes permeable, bacterial byproducts, inflammatory toxins, and undigested food particles escape into the bloodstream and flow straight into the liver through the portal vein. The liver, now receiving a constant flood of inflammatory signals from a damaged gut, goes into overdrive. It becomes inflamed. It accumulates fat. It begins to scar. This is why healing the liver starts with healing the gut. Now here is the most important part, what you can actually do about this. Because here's the incredible truth about the liver that most people don't realize. The liver is one of the only organs in the human body with the ability to completely regenerate itself. With the right interventions, fatty liver disease in its early and intermediate stages can be fully reversed. Not managed, not slowed down, reversed. Step 1. Eliminate added sugar and high fructose corn syrup. A clinical trial published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that simply removing fructose from the diet with no other changes reduced liver fat by an average of 22% in just 9 days. 9 days. Start by removing all sugar-sweetened beverages immediately. Sodas, fruit juices, sports drinks, and sweet teas. Step 2. Adopt a lower carbohydrate, whole food diet. Reduce refined carbohydrates and replace them with lean proteins, non-starchy vegetables, healthy fats like olive oil and avocado, and low glycemic fruits like berries. A Mediterranean-style eating pattern has the strongest evidence base for reducing liver fat. Step 3. Exercise, specifically aerobic activity combined with resistance training. Studies show this combination can reduce liver fat by up to 30% in just 8 weeks. Aim for 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity per week, plus 2 resistance training sessions. Step 4. Support your gut microbiome by adding fermented foods, plain yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, and kombucha, and prebiotic fiber from garlic, onions, asparagus, and oats. Step 5. Add 3 specific liver protective foods to your daily diet. Black coffee, 2 to 3 cups per day, has been shown across multiple large studies to significantly reduce rates of liver fibrosis and cirrhosis. Turmeric, the active compound curcumin, reduces liver inflammation and decreases liver fat accumulation. And cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower activate detoxification enzymes directly inside the liver. Step 6. Prioritize sleep. Your liver does the majority of its repair work between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Chronic sleep deprivation of less than 6 hours per night is an independent risk factor for fatty liver disease progression. 7 to 9 hours of consistent sleep does more for your liver than most supplements on the market. If you suspect you have fatty liver disease, please see your doctor and ask specifically for a liver ultrasound, a complete metabolic panel including ALT, AST, GGT, and bilirubin, and a fasting insulin test to assess insulin resistance. If your doctor tells you everything looks fine based only on standard blood work, push further. Ask about imaging. Be your own advocate, because normal labs do not equal a healthy liver. Here's what I want you to take away from today. 100 million Americans have this disease. The majority of them will never be warned by their doctor. The standard tests miss it in most people. And by the time symptoms appear, significant damage has often already been done. But your liver is extraordinarily resilient. It wants to heal. It is designed to heal. And with the right steps, starting today, you can genuinely reverse this condition before it becomes something you can't come back from. You have more power here than the medical system gives you credit for. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button, subscribe for more evidence-based health content every week, and drop a comment below telling me which risk factors applied to you. Take care of your liver. It has been taking care of you without complaint your entire life. I'll see you in the next one.